Hello and welcome to the Dudes Review. We are the Dudes, and today we'll be reviewing Oscar nominations. So, Nick, why don't you start us off? What do you think was the best picture?
My pick for best picture is Silver Lining Playbook. Great story. Really, Jennifer Lawrence was great. Bradley Cooper was even better. The characters were awesome.
It was a very well-made movie.
It was, and I could tell, from my experience of making movies, I feel like just the way it was put together was very, very good.
The characters seemed to fit and interact with each other really well.
Yeah,
and
the
chemistry was there.
Exactly. It was nice to see a movie where all of the characters had their own little thing. They all sort of interacted with each other the way real people do. They're not the Jennifer Anistons of the world that, are playing the same girl next door character every time. You saw the depth that that the actors had, and it added something to the movie that, that I think you couldn't get with anyone else.
So you think that movie could win?
I think that it has to win.
All right.
I think if it doesn't win, it's a steal. But I think Django Unchained will put up a solid fight for it. Quentin Tarantino really showed up.
Yep.
I think he got a little lazy with violence. I think that he sort of hid behind the violence a little bit.
There was a lot of violence in that movie.
There was, and there was a lot of bodies exploding. I mean, it was very Tarantino.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Tarantino, I mean, this is the ultimate by-the-book, Tarantino film.
Definitely. So, Barris, what do you think?
What do I think? I think The Life of Pi should win because it was a very interesting story, very moving. The kid loses his parents in a shipwreck caused by just a natural storm occurrence. And then he ends up on a lifeboat with 3 other animals, and most of them die, but he's left with himself, some biscuits, a journal, and a tiger. And I find that really interesting because I've never heard of a story with a lifeboat survivor with only a tiger.
Yeah.
It's almost a biblical tale even, it has that sort of
It has that
design.
sort of energy magic to it.
It was a very moving story. And definitely I think it should win because of the book. The book was one of my favorite books that I've ever read, so.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good.
One I did like though was Zero Dark 30.
Definitely.
I felt like
Yeah.
in total it was a pretty lifeless movie. I kind of went to sleep on it about twice. Ah, God.
Yeah, I thought Zero Dark 30 might be the worst movie in the category. I think that the fact that it's in the category was a mistake by somebody. I think that the movie just doesn't, they glossed over things that really should have been, focused on.
Some of the more political stuff.
Right.
Within the movie.
That's something that they didn't do. If they really wanted to be gritty and true to life, they would have addressed torture. They would have addressed, the killing of Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, they really just sort of slid over that at the end.
They did.
really did.
And it turned into a, rah rah America, we're the best country in the world because we killed Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But let's take into account the fact that to do so, the CIA tortured and killed thousands of innocent people. Soon after 9/11, we blew up a village of 5,000 people, and we call it collateral damage, when they kill 3,000 of us, and we call it terrorism.
It's true. It's, they really sort of missed that in the movie. So.
Yeah, I think they just let it go. And for that reason, if it wins, I'm done with the Oscars.
Definitely. Now, speaking of Zero Dark 30, we can switch over to actresses. What do you guys think about Jessica Chastain being nominated? Personally, I didn't think she did well in that movie at all. Her dialogue was too verbose. She said so many things that really could have been condensed, and she didn't add anything to the movie. So
No, she didn't.
On top
what
of
do you guys
that,
think?
like, most of the things she did was predictable. You could see right through her character. Like, you could probably just, like, stick your hand right through there and, like, grab a bag of chips and go watch something else.
Yeah,
It wasn't good.
I was ready to do that. Because there was she was a one-dimensional character that added no dimension to the character or the movie. It was the whole story was very sad and upsetting, and she just sort of carried that and didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
She just sort of just let it absorb her and, did nothing with it.
Yeah.
But if we want to talk about actresses, best actor in the category, really needs to win. Jennifer Lawrence brought something to Silver Linings Playbook that I've never seen an actress bring to a movie of that kind. I mean, there were times that I thought she was actually that person.
Yeah.
You know, I have not. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence, she was in the Hunger Games. She was sort of this teen sensation for a while. I mean, the Hunger Games sort of like Twilight.
Yeah.
But, you know, I haven't seen an actress come back from a teen sensation movie to do something as real as Silver Lining Playbook and nail it.
Yeah.
You know, step up to the plate and hit a grand slam. You know, I've never seen that before, and I think that she's just.
So you think she should
nailed it.
win?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. And what do you guys think about actors?
I mean, on the same movie, I think Bradley Cooper, he did okay. You know, I thought, I mean,
He made a
after
comeback from
the
Hangover.
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly. The Hangover, I mean, he was super popular. I thought he was awesome in that movie.
But as like a sort of more silly role, like a he was
Right,
sort of like a,
exactly. And he's
clown.
he's taking huge strides to become a more serious character. I don't think he's gonna win because of the people he's up against are
Definitely.
some really tough competition. But I think that with this nomination and with that character choice, I think he's making huge strides to become a more serious, you know, a better, just a more respected actor.
Cool. Barris, what do you think?
I think the guy from Life of Pi should win for the actor choice, mainly because I found that he really played a good role as a narrator for the story. He showed emotion, he had a good voice, good posture, all of that stuff. And it made the story interesting to watch, interesting to read, and even when you weren't seeing the tigers or the storms or anything, it was really good to hear him talk in the intermissions between the story.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think that Daniel Day-Lewis is going to put up a fight for Best Actor.
Absolutely.
In Lincoln, he was a very solid
Definitely.
character. But then there's also Denzel Washington with Flight.
Denzel Washington is awesome.
I mean,
He is a good-
but here's the thing. I mean, he's a great actor, but it was just sort of standard in Flight.
Right.
So, I mean, you sort of have to like take into consideration that
Right.
balance of, you know, he was standard in Flight, but his standard is so high
Right.
that it's difficult to call on that one.
I mean, it was below his average, but
Yeah.
his average was way higher than everyone else.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, Daniel Day-Lewis, he has a lower average, I would say, but he exceeded expectations.
Totally.
I mean, he brought life to a dead guy. You know what I mean?
Literally, yeah.
Literally. He did, and he did so in a way. I mean, I went home and I wrote a campaign speech just because it inspired me to do
Such
that.
an inspirational film.
I mean, I felt I looked at politics totally different after I saw that movie, because, you know, for someone who likes politics, it really brings out, you know, a political, you know, machine in you that you never knew you had before.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Make sure you watch the Oscars February 24th.
Until then, we're the dudes, and that's the review.